So heading into next year, there's a lot of players with a lot to prove. And obviously with COVID impacting last season, I think it hindered a lot of guys' momentum when they built stuff. So, Joe, I want to know, who is the player in your mind that has the most to prove next season?
Dak Prescott.
Really?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's got to prove that the ankle injury isn't going to be a problem anymore.
Especially after getting paid.
He's got to prove that he can still, keep up the historic numbers he was putting up at the beginning of the season. Because he was going on pace for 6,000 yards.
He was putting up Madden numbers,
which is going to be easier to do with 17 games, but 16 games, that's just ridiculous.
It's absurd.
Yeah. He's got to prove all that. And again, he is the Cowboys quarterback, which is the hardest position in the NFL.
It's definitely up there. It's definitely up there.
Cowboys quarterback or head coach. I mean, you take your pick.
Yeah.
So he's always got that pressure on him. It hasn't gotten to his head before, but
with the added layer of coming back from ankle injury, yeah.
But I think he can do it. I think comeback player of the year. Obviously, I
think he's almost a lock for it as long as he plays well.
Yeah, I mean him or Joey B.
Yeah, facts. All right, Joe, I got a different Cowboy for you. I think Dak's definitely an option. For me, it's Ezekiel Elliott. I think we talked about Zeke and how he was a little thicker last season and he had his struggles and ultimately his efficiency was called into question. A lot of people, including myself, wonder if his success is more due to the O-line than his actual talent. And obviously he's very talented. But last year he fumbled a lot. He had his ups and downs. I think this year is a big year for him because you have Tony Pollard. I think he's still on the roster, who was pushing him towards the end of last year. You're Ezekiel Elliott, who's reportedly gotten into really good shape. You need to perform at the highest caliber and show that you're eating again. And by that, I mean eating on the field, maybe not as much off it. And you just need to be the beast you were the previous 3-4 seasons. I think Ezekiel Elliott, we talked about the Cowboys, the pressure that comes with it, the fact that they've underperformed lately. He got a lot of flack last season. Not slack, the opposite. And he won't be getting any slack this year if he doesn't perform.
With Dak back. O-line's back, Dak's back. I mean, and let's just say, Dak, when he was with Dak, he was putting up good numbers.
Yeah,
he
100%.
Still was fumbling. People have been saying that is because he wears an arm sleeve. And running backs really don't do that because they aren't, good for grip.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's it, but that's an excuse people have been throwing out. Dak, when he was with Dak, though, he was great on the field. He was great in fantasy. He was great in all that. So with Dak back, I think he's going to be a top 6 running back in the league.
But he has a lot to prove, is my point.
Yeah,
he's got to perform. This is a make or break year for him with the money he's making.
That's true. If anything, if he doesn't perform, I would see a restructured contract in the future. But yeah, we do have a backup for him if he doesn't perform in Tony Pollard. He has been great in the games he's played. But I mean, I've been seeing, he's in great shape. There have been 100 articles saying Zeke's in great shape.
Hope they're telling the truth. Telling the truth. All right, Joe, I got one more name for you. A name that I think you'll actually have more fun talking about. I think Daniel Jones has a lot to prove. I think Daniel Jones has had his abilities called into question the last few years, and he's had his ups and downs. But this year, the Giants have given him some help. They've obviously improved the defense a lot. They got Kenny Golladay for him. We have talked about how the Giants receiving core isn't as good as people make it out to be, but it's better. And ultimately, they're in a situation, and Saquon's coming back. They're in a situation where I think Daniel Jones is going to have to push the bar a little bit for him to be regarded as a consistently reliable starter. I think that is the next step he needs to make this year. He got more leeway because the Giants didn't provide him support, but they're giving him that now. And so I think that Daniel Jones has a lot on the line this year.
I don't know why he gets leeway, because his biggest problem isn't him throwing. That is a problem, but his biggest problem is he fumbles the ball almost every other play.
Yeah, and part of that you could say is the O-line, which they've improved, but they improved that before last year too.
Yeah.
I think that with the lack of receiving help and the fact that a lot of guys were banged up, he deserved the leeway he got. But this year is a make or break season for him.
Yeah. I was confused as to why you would say Daniel Jones, because I feel like to be able to prove yourself, you actually had to be good in your career.
Not necessarily. Daniel Jones has had his moments too. Don't get me wrong.
No, he's not good. I think what he does have to prove. Is that really a hot take to you?
I don't think that it's I don't think he's a top 15 quarterback, but what I am saying is I think he's had his moments and he has talent, and ultimately it's just about maximizing that and cutting down on mistakes. And that's the question. Can he do that with more support?
Sam, he was 20 yards away from a touchdown.
Yeah, I know, and he stumbled. You're going into that. Yeah.
He's not like Eli Manning was far better than this guy.
Well, yes.
And Eli Manning was overrated.
Hey, at least you finally admit it. Not a Hall of Famer.
He's still Tom Brady's dad.
No, he's not. He lost to Tom Brady in the regular season frequently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But he didn't lose to him in the Super Bowl.
The defense is Tom Brady's dad. Eli Manning got lucky on a couple big passes, but we don't have to go into that.
Yeah. So Daniel Jones, I guess he does have to prove if he can start in the NFL. If not,
that's what I mean.
Giants are drafting a quarterback next year, no matter what, in my opinion.
So this is my point, right? He has a lot to prove because he has to prove he can be a reliable starter, and that's the question. He got a pass because he didn't have a lot of support, but now they've improved his support. So this is the year for me. Joe, do you have any other names with guys that have something to prove this year? Whether it's something like Daniel Jones or something like Zeke or Dak.
Carson Wentz.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This is for me, at least, this is you either perform or you don't have an NFL contract.
Oh my goodness, this Wi-Fi is terrible. Yeah, so Carson Wentz, he had one good season.
It was a very good one. It was a very good one, admittedly.
Even then, and I wouldn't say very good. I would say it was like, hey, look at me, I can play football.
It was an MVP caliber season before he got hurt.
It wasn't.
He was the front runner before he got hurt.
Yeah, but that was just because, hey, look at this, an Eagles players doing well. That never happens.
Okay.
He can't even win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, Nick did it for him.
Yeah. But yeah, he's been on the decline ever since his first injury. That is a fact. You can fact check me on that. I don't think he has what it takes. I don't think going to the Colts is any better than the Eagles. Especially with T.Y. Hilton, being on the decline as well.
Yeah, Pittman's an interesting option, but outside of that, what does he have? A good running back core, a good O-line.
Yep. But yeah, Carson Wentz will have to prove.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think Carson, I think I said this, I don't know if I cut out, but ultimately for me, Carson Wentz, it's you either perform and prove you can start, or you might not have an NFL contract by December.
Yeah.